Hi guys, it's Kelly Latevola here, and I am back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are going to be doing some Copic coloring, and the layout is clean and layered. I know you're used to unlayered cards, but sometimes I get a little bit crazy and I go clean and layered. So here we're using the double stitch triangles, the Cosmos, the stamps and the dies, and then the Because stamps and dies. I probably saw recently made the glossy black cardstock. I almost forgot about this. It's so cool. So this is a black glossy cardstock. This is from Tonic. It's part of their Craft Perfect line, and it's a mirror. It's a mirror cardstock. Like, you could see me waving there. But so I thought that it would be a really cool addition to make the triangle stand out a little more. So here, I've never used these before, so I'm clipping them apart. Mine are already connected for when I cut them out to create that triangle frame. But if yours are already cut, you would just line them up and then tape them together. I've done that with other dies as well, and it works fine. So the reason I did the die cutting of my triangle first is so that I could get the layout for what flowers I needed to stamp. So this is me just kind of showing you my whole process and laying this out, though this did me no good because I completely forgot how I laid it out, and then this is not even how the layout went at the end of the day. You ever have that happen where you're just like rushing and going through? So I did stamp a couple of extra leaves, just because I always find with my floral arrangements that I'm wishing I had an extra something to tuck somewhere, and I don't want to restamp and color and everything else. So it's just easier to stamp them all in the beginning and then cut them out. And if I don't use them, I don't use them. I am using Gina K Amalgam ink because, like I said, we're going to be doing some Copic coloring. I did end up stamping this twice, I think, because the way that the stamp is drawn, there's so much detail in the center, and I didn't give it really super good pressure. So this time when I went through, I made sure to push extra hard in the middle. So once that's done, I'm going to get into the Copic coloring. And the way I picked my colors was, I really love pink. I really love pink and yellow, but my natural inclination is go to a yellow green. So I decided to switch it up and use some teals, some blue-green colors, just to make it a little bit different than my norm. So as far as the Copic coloring goes, I'm starting with my lightest color, going out to my darkest, just like I normally do. But here, I'm only adding shading to the center of it. And you'll see on the petals that are pushed in the back, I am lining the sides. So whenever two objects are next to each other or one is on top of the other, there will be shading. So I'm just go ahead and putting in those lines so I know to continue to add shading to that area. Some people call it mapping, like where your shadows are. For the really teeny tiny petals that are in the back, I'm not doing any flicking at all. I'm just outlining that edge because I know as I add colors to it, it's going to fill that petal in. There, what you just saw me do was my RV09 is overfilled, which means when I filled it, I just added too much ink. And so it has the propensity to kind of blob on my projects. If you have pens that are like that, either you have overfilled them or they've come that way, just take the cap off of the back. It equalizes the pressure in the barrel, and then it won't dump ink all over your project. For the darkest color, I'm pretty much concentrating it just in the center of the larger petals, so that way it's not all dark right up against each other. And then for the smaller petals, anywhere, like I said, that one's on top of the other, I am adding that in. Now, once the darkest color is put down, I'm going to go back and do the same thing all the way out to the lightest, filling in that white area as I go. Each color, each consecutive color should come out a little bit farther than the color before it. So all of my RV09 will cover all of my RV69. All of my RV04 will cover all of my RV09. And then you'll see when I do the RV02, pinks are special. I mean, they are because they're pretty, but they're also special because the RV02 picks up so much of that RV04. It just lightens the ink up so much that in situations like this where I only have just a little bit of it, I come in from the top side. Instead of covering everything all over again, I'm just going to bring it down to blend into the RV04 so I don't completely get rid of all of my shading. For some of the ones that are in the back, it's really just going to be like a little line of the RV02. There's not going to be much to it, but in real life, those petals would be darker because they are pushed all the way in the back and they're not catching as much sunlight. Now, you'll see when we get there. So I'm going to do the center and then the leaves next. But I wasn't going to show you the coloring of the other flower, but I decided to because it is shaped so much differently and there's other things going on there that we didn't talk about with this flower. So I decided to just go ahead and show you both. For the shading on the inside of the flower, I just did it darker where the flower was curling up over it and left the lighter edge on the, the top left-hand side. And then here, I love color variation. Okay, it's one of my favorite things. And I really, really love it with watercolor. But every once in a while, I do like to add it with my Copics. So here, I just picked a couple of random petals, no rhyme or reason to it. I left some completely pink and then I added yellow to some of them and then went back in with the RVO2 and blended that in just to make it a little bit original or unique so that there was something else going on with the flower besides just a hot pink flower. Know what I'm saying? These are the Cosmos, by the way, if I didn't say. Honeybee Stamps has got a bunch of flower sets they have come out with and I love all of them because they're such good sizes. But this is the one, honestly, the reason that I ended up with these is because it was the first one I found the stamps and the dies for, and that was it, because I would have worked with any of them. I love them all. So as far as shading for the leaves, not much to it because there's not much real estate here. So just really kind of making the center a little bit darker. Here's where we're switching back over to that petal. So let's talk about the shading for this. Mostly the same, except for where there's 3 petals that curl up over themselves. So this one on the right hand side that we're getting ready to color here is curled up. So the part that it's curled over would be darker. This one here in the front where it's curling up, the center of it, like the part that the flower is coming up over, is definitely going to be darker, guys. Will definitely be darker. That's where you're going to add some of your darkest shading. And then the one on the bottom left has just a slight curl to it. The parts that are coming up over the petal, you want to make sure that you leave yourself a little bit of a highlight there to separate everything from the center. They would be lighter, they would catch more light because they're curled up. So that's just something to keep in mind. You would also have the darkest shading where it would be, the darkest shading is going to be on the base of the petal where closest to where that highlight is. So you're going to have a really light area next to a really dark area. I hope that makes sense. And then also you can see, I did it with the first flower too. I'm periodically adding just a couple of little flicks to accentuate the like torn edges that the flower has. And I'm doing this mostly with the RV09. So not the darkest color, the second darkest color. This is a short video for me. I don't even know what I'm doing here. So what else have I been up to? Oh, so we did go to the lake. We only ended up going for like a day and a half. We got there on Friday night. So we get there on Friday night and nobody's been there since we were there the last time. So everything's kind of just as we left it, opening up the place, getting it's like probably about 9 o'clock at night when we get there. And so we're outside like doing the chairs and stuff. And because it's by the lake, there's spiders. Like honestly, they're following me. I'm pretty sure that they're like hitching a ride in my suitcase and just coming to where I am. I don't understand why. I don't like them. I don't understand why they can't understand that I don't like them. But anywho, so this spider is on the glass door. And I have to tell you, even though I think that they're disgusting and they totally creep me out and give me the heebie-jeebies, this, you know what a sliding glass door, so like the span of a sliding glass door. One pane of the sliding glass door, this spider has created this web from one side to the other side. It is at least 12 inches wide, this web that it's created. And it's huge. It's probably like the size of a 50-cent piece. It's an enormous spider. And he's just chilling in the middle, waiting for dinner. And so I tell Eric, well, if you watch my Instagram, then you probably saw the spiders. But so I told Eric, I was like, dude, you're up. You need to kill it. So he does it very efficiently. He claps it in between 2 pairs of shoes. It falls to the ground and dies. This is wonderful. Okay. So then we go back in, clean up, get everything out of the truck and, putting everything away and blah, blah, blah. And about an hour later, I'm going back outside out on the deck so Molly can go potty. And there's another one in the same exact spot. Like he just moved. What did Eric say? Like his uncle just moved into his nephew's web or something like that. Just like made it his home. And so then Eric kills that one. And then I see up in like the like hanging off the, what is those called, eaves of the roof, there's another one and he's casting a shadow. So then he gets that one. Well, apparently up there they have a duster, and the way Eric described it is totally accurate. It looks like an enlarged toilet brush, like it's got the round, fluffy head on it, but they use it to clean up the spider webs at the cabin. So apparently this is just a common occurrence. I know spiders like to be near water. I know that's a thing. So he takes the enlarged toilet brush and then he just starts like wiping away all of the like underneath the eaves, the roof part of it. He's just like wiping up all the spider webs. And I'm like, how do you know you're not picking up spiders? Like, what are you doing? Like, you could just be, you're picking up their webs, you're picking up the spiders. And he was like, I'm not picking up the spiders. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure you are. So I think, now he didn't say it was to prove me wrong, but I'm fairly sure that he thought that he was going to prove me wrong. So he puts it on the deck and like on its side and starts spinning it. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that there are spiders that start flying off like toddlers that don't have a good grip on the merry-go-round. Like, he's twirling this thing and there's spiders flying off of it. It was like 2 or 3 of them. But then because they have so much momentum behind them, like they just keep flying. So now he's got to hunt them down to kill them. I'm pretty sure we didn't get one. But yeah, like that was my first night experience at the lake. So now pretty much I just don't want to go outside when it's nighttime. And I'm sure you can probably understand that. So, back to the card. So now I've die cut everything out. You can see that. And I'm trying to remember how I had arranged it. You probably saw me trying to pry up the triangle because I just got so excited that I just stuck it down and I didn't remember that I wanted to tuck the flowers behind it. This is what happens when Kelly rushes, okay? Everything that like could go wrong did go wrong. So I have to pry up the triangle. I can't remember where I want this flower. Then I finally establish a place that I'm going to put the flower, and the foam tape is too big. So now I got to pull it back up. I've successfully bent the what is that called? The stem. Oh my gosh, it's a day. I successfully bent the stem, so now I can't even like slide it in as far as I want. I'm trying to have to like pull it through with my fingernails, which is, if you watched my Instagram, you know I just recently filed my nails down. This card is what was the catalyst, because I was having such a hard time with the die cuts, and then later on with the rhinestones. I was just like, no, these things have to go. They got to go. They're annoying the crap out of me. So here I have because I did cut the halo out of the glossy cardstock so it would blend in with the triangle. Because it is a slick surface, I had to be careful in gluing it down. Now, Tombow Mono multi-glue dries super fast, so I just had to hold it there for a second, and then I was pretty much good to go. I'm going to add in this one extra leaf, and I'm going to pop that up as well, just like I've done everything else. And I wasn't really sure, like I wasn't really loving how the You're Amazing fit into it. You guys watch my videos, you know that my preferred design is I like everything super tight. I like my sentiment in with the focal point. I don't like it like off here on its own, having its own party. Like, I want to come sit at my lunch table and hang out with me. That's how I want them all to be friends. So because I just scooted it over a little bit farther to the left so that I could fit the You're Amazing up over the S. For this one, I just added foam tape to the left and right hand side so that way there would be no, it would all be level on top of the triangle. Like I said, every once in a while, Clean and Layered kind of does it for me. But because I had done that, the last video I did with the crystal frames, I was really regretting not doing any florals with it. And so that like geometric shapes and florals was kind of in my head. So that's how we got here. So for this one, I needed to sit level on top of the because, so I'm not going to put any foam tape in between it. I am going to add a little bit of glue so it adheres to the S portion of it. And then it felt a little disjointed. So in order to bring it all together and kind of draw your eye around the card, I picked up some of I think they're called Moonlight. They're super cute. I'm currently considering putting them on my nails. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, they're Moonlight or rhinestones, I'm sorry, from Honeybee, and they're like a iridescent white. I love them because most of the time when I do sequins or rhinestones, they're clear white, something along those lines. The last thing that I'm going to do is put on some clear glitter on top of the flowers because everything needs all of the shimmer, and then that's it. That's the whole card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be, I'm sure I'll be uploading something later this week because I have a few in the queue. So I will see you on the next one. Bye.